But I will say this. Look, there was a time not all that long ago. I was doing TV down in Columbus, Georgia, and we did a segment on the Pac-12. I'm glad it's buried and gone now because it would sound terrible if it were to see the light of day, even though I'm telling you right now what it said. And around 2015 or 16, the year Washington made the playoff, going into that year, the conference looked like it was in a really good place. Multiple teams were positioned, obviously, but you also had an infusion, I thought, of really good coaching talent out on the West Coast. And this is pre-Stanford falling off a little bit. So there are multiple programs out there that seem to be clicking. I thought that the Pac-12 TV network money was only going to further infuse, in a raw cash sense, the ability to invest resource-wise into football. I thought all systems were go for the Pac-12. And due to many things, I think ineffective leadership at the top being chief among them, the conference just faltered. It just fumbled, to, I guess, use a football pun, on, I thought, a really good opportunity there. Well, what follows is this ugly domino effect of you get inadequacy on the football field, you have incompetency at the conference level, and then all of a sudden you are not viable enough to keep your most precious commodity home, that being West Coast talent. And so now instead you get to wake up every morning on Saturday and you get to watch DJ Uyunglele play for Clemson and Bryce Young play for Alabama. And it's just like, I would be beyond livid if I were on the West Coast, being a Pac-12 fan of a team, but then also just knowing my team is attached to the conference. I can only be as healthy as the conference is. Like, that's what we talk about in the South about the Pac-12, outside of just the fun and, the joke making. Like, that's the real deal. That's where the rubber meets the road with the Pac-12.
Yeah, and Matt, do you want to share your opinions on the same subject as you? You're in Wyoming now, which isn't Pac-12 country necessarily. You're more Mountain West territory, I guess.
Wyoming, I'm a little more populated than that in South Dakota here, bud. But yeah, it's all the same. But I'm in Big Ten country, believe it or not. Being in South Dakota, you got a lot of Nebraska fans out here, a lot of Minnesota fans, all that stuff. It's the same conversation. People are like, "Oh, you're a Huskies fan?" Like, okay, like, cool, big deal. It's just that same conversation of just, it's faltered off since, I would say, 2016. I think Stanford being the weak team, like falling off after their run with Andrew Luck, Christian McCaffrey, all that, them being solid, like, Josh said, it really created a domino effect, and it's affected pretty much every team, I would argue, except for Oregon. I think Washington hasn't been hit by it yet, but with recruiting, how that's going, that is probably soon to fall as well. But we'll get a bit into that later. So I'll let you continue it on.